when Olivia Rodrigo says, "'Cause who am I if not exploited?" Welcome back to Heard You Like It Raw. I'm your host, Nicolina. I'm sure you're all dying to know what happens next and how so-and-so became L number 4. I can tell you that I had no idea the journey I was about to go on. What a wild fucking ride. Before we get started though, I just wanted to say I hope you all are thriving and loving yourselves more and more every day. Thank you for tuning in and listening to my literal autobiography and the messiest year of my life. I appreciate you, and if no one's told you today, I'm proud of you. 2024 is really going to be our year. So I go over that day to clean, and I just fucking wow. Like, where the fuck is Alex Cooper when you need her to walk you through this and make you feel like this is okay? Like, y'all, I just took the fattest fucking tequila shot. You can see it on my TikTok page. Like, I just took the fattest fucking tequila shot to tell this story because it is trying to stay positive. It's fun. It's so fun to tell this fucking traumatic story, all right? So I go over to clean that day, and naturally I'm nervous as fuck driving there, palm sweaty, like, what the fuck am I even doing here? Even though, like, it was natural and, like, easy going with him the first time, like, he was fine, but I get there and, like, oh my fucking God. Like, his house was a total mess. He was living out of boxes and suitcases for a couple months since he moved here in the beginning of the year. Mind you, this is March now, so I'm like, dude, you okay? Like, this is for sure a depression house. Like, what the fuck happened here? It looked like a bomb went off, and, like, also, I'm a pretty personal person, so I immediately, like, put myself in people's shoes, and I immediately get really personal with them, and I'm like, okay, tell me everything from the day you were literally born, and I also have no problem making myself at home, so I'm like, okay, don't you worry, bestie. I looked around, I assessed, and I'm like, I'll be your bestie for the day and help you clean your depression house. We're gonna get you right, and the bonus was I was getting paid, and he bought me food, and he was great company, honestly. And mind you, at this point in my life, too, like, my only focus was the bag. After my last ex, my focus was the bag and paying for that apartment and getting the fuck out of this town, okay? I was driving myself mad every single day because I wasn't where I wanted to be and just kept taking what I could and taking it, like, the most out of every opportunity and everything. So I knew how successful he was, so I would learn a lot from him and learn a lot from us talking about people, about men, about just so much shit. I was absorbing all the good I possibly could, and I keep trying to tell this in, like, a really strategic way. I'm trying to be, like, good about it and really get my message across. But the fucking truth in it all is, like, honestly, I'm sitting here getting anxious as fuck on how I should tell the story, and I keep beating around the bush and wanting to not tell a really crucial part about it, but literally, like, I can't, because I keep going to, like, beat around the bush and not tell it. This podcast is literally called Heard You Like It Raw, and how fucking inauthentic would it be for me to not tell my story exactly how it is? If I can't fucking expose my own raw truth, how can I expect anyone else to do it? You know, how can I expect the world to do it? This is my whole point in it. I want everybody to live their truth, live their most authentic selves, live their fucking life, and own their shit, because it's okay, and life is messy, and life is hard, and that's it, you know? And that's it. You're not your one mistake, and you're not this, and you're not that. And you learn from it, or you don't, and you stay in those places. But I, for one, learn from my mistakes, and I definitely fucking learned this one. So when I went over to clean that day, I could sit here and talk about how his energy was this and he was this way and whatever, but the truth is, I fucking went over to clean, and 2 weeks prior to that, I was sitting there and I was writing down my intentions for the next month and whatever, and I wanted to get out of bartending, and I wanted a 9-to-5. I just wanted a 9-to-5 so fucking bad. I was feeling so stagnant in my career, and I just wanted to fucking scream. I wanted some escape. The bartending was so degrading and so fucking awful. So I'm over there, and I'm telling this kid about this kid I barely know, and I just start venting as I'm, like, fucking folding this stranger's clothes and shit like that. And he's like, well, have you ever considered working in a law firm? Mind you, he's like the managing partner of this law firm, right? And we just met, nothing had happened. And he like asked me that, and I immediately am like, holy shit, like no way, no way. Because 2 weeks prior to that, I had literally just wrote down that I wanted to, you know, get a day job and everything, and that I wanted to bring in a 9 to 5 into my life. And so also, aside from that, that I always had told myself that I would go to law school if I didn't find something like financially satisfying and like, you know, my like as fulfilling in my day-to-day with my communications bachelor's degree. Like if I didn't find that, then after 2 years from my graduation date, I would go to law school. I would sign up for that, collect my debt, become a lawyer, and just accept that fate, right? So it was like oddly that time, and it was always in the back of my mind. So when he said it, I was like, fuck yes. Everyone also always told me to work in a law firm before I go and collect all of that debt. So literally less than 48 hours after that, I'm accepted for the job. They're like, okay, you can start that following Monday. It is fucking awesome. I'm like, wow, life is really working out for me. I say that as it's 444 on the fucking dot. Life really is always working out for you, and you are always right where you're supposed to be. And I go and I work at the law firm and whatever, and like this is silly, you know, like I had barely met this kid and whatever. I knew he was like kind of flirty with me, but I also was just like super fucking excited that I had gotten out of bartending. I was finally working a day job that I was like, fuck yes, and this is a place I can grow, I can work towards goals, I can start studying for my LSATs, I can do all the things that you're supposed to do, right? So I'm like, this is amazing. Look at my life from this January, right? So then after like a week and a half goes by, he like asked if I wanted to like hang out that night and whatever, and I'm like, yeah, sure, no big deal. Like we were just friends. It was no big deal, right? And I say that and I'm like laughing and kicking myself as I look back. But you know, in the time I was just like, yeah, whatever, like I'll come over. Also too, like I was lonely. I needed a friend, he needed a friend, and all was well. So I'm over at his house that night, and we were talking about like how one of his friends was in a relationship, and like how that they used to cheat on each other all the time and go through each other's phones, and we were just talking about that topic. And I tell him like, well, yeah, like I literally just got cheated on, and he verbatim says like, well, that's really shitty of him, you don't deserve to get cheated on. I can't really say shit though. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean you can't say shit? And he's like, full disclosure, I have a girlfriend in my hometown. That's why I haven't tried to make a move on you or anything. And I'm like, whoa. Multiple things to unpack from that. One, make a move on me. I'm glad you fucking didn't, because I was literally gonna friend zone this kid. Mind you, also, when my bestie first told me to like go out with this kid, I didn't even think he was cute or anything. And like, so I was just like, whatever, bro. Not like you would have got away with it. And two, bro, you have a girlfriend? What the fuck are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Like, you literally just took me to a massage and dinner, and like, you're pretty flirty with me. Now you got me a job at your law firm. Like, does your girlfriend know about that? Probably not. And no, while in a literal sense, nothing actually fucking happened, it's like the principle. It's the women's intuition. Like, I'm sorry, but you just don't take a fucking female friend or male friend to a massage without those intentions, you know? And he's like 30-year-old fucking millennial, so like I can only imagine what his brain is thinking, right? He's thinking he can be bachelor and get away with everything, and just men in power just always have this ego and think that they are so fucking untouchable. And so I'm like, I say to him in that moment, I just kind of look, I'm like, well, like, what do you mean and whatever? And then I start asking about her, and he tells me that she's this boss-ass lawyer and an even better lawyer than him sometimes. And I'm like, you took me to a massage. And he's like, well, we technically didn't do anything. Nothing's weird. And like, I was just pointing it out because I love pointing out stuff that's wrong and just want people to be held accountable. But also I'm like, well, why are you getting defensive now and whatever? And then it was just weird. And so then I left, and like it kind of made me upset. And like we left on like okay terms, but like I barely knew this kid at the time, and I just wanted to be his friend and didn't want to get roped into all of this. And I had just ended with like my ex-best friend who ended up being in love with me. So I was like, oh, why can't men think with their actual head instead of the other fucking head? And I just didn't know him or his girlfriend, and me knowing like bitches be crazy sometimes, you know, I can't help it. You know, I love my women, but women be fucking bad shit crazy. So, like, I didn't want something through the grapevine, her to find out that he just took his now new legal assistant to a fucking massage. And I'm like, oh my fucking God. Like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. Me feeling like a baby shrimp, constantly getting screwed over previously by men in power and all of this stuff. And I was just like, oh no, like literally I'm gonna vomit. This is terrible, right? And not like it was like whatever, but like I literally was like, you know, you should not have me over and not be doing that. Like, I literally just got cheated on. Like, that's wrong, okay? I don't know who needs to tell you this, but I'm gonna tell you this. It's wrong. He naturally had told me everything I needed to hear in that time to, like, agree, like, oh, nothing had happened, we're just friends, and everything's all fine and dandy, and I want what's best for you, and your job is good, nothing's weird, and you have nothing to worry about, and, like, also I'm breaking up with her anyways, and, you know, just, like, all these master of manipulation tactics, and I'm like, well, the breakup part doesn't even help or fucking matter to me because we are friends, and you're my boss, so I don't want to date you, so I don't know why you keep gloating about that, but whatever. So I felt a little trapped, but, you know, I keep trying to think, like, now I'm on my yoga journey, so I keep trying to think, like, oh, well, the universe has a greater plan for me, and I'm not gonna freak out, and all this stuff, because I trust the universe, and I trust that this is just whatever, so I'm gonna put my healthy boundary and not hang out with this kid and focus on my career and the bag, everybody. We're gonna focus on the bag, okay? And also, too, I knew that if I, like, had blown this up into a whole thing, it would make this weird at work, and then I would have to go back to bartending, and, like, also, too, I just kind of had a feeling that if I were to blow this up, like, based off of how he was immediately shutting down every point I was making, I knew I was gonna get gaslit into seeming like the crazy one, and I wasn't about to make this shit happen, right? Okay, so again, we really didn't do anything, so, like, I guess we can sleep it under the rug. It was weird, but whatever. And then, like, I had also had, like, a family member tell me that, like, she's like, oh, girl, like, that's just the way it works for those men. Like, you just have to be smarter, have a plan B, watch your back, acknowledge that you did nothing wrong. And so I did. I did have a plan B, which I started looking for other jobs and everything. It was just crazy. So I started looking for other jobs, like, kind of almost fucking immediately after this, honestly, and, like, knew very fucking quickly that I did not want to go to law school. Like, very fucking quickly into this, because A, it takes 2 seconds to realize that everybody in that law firm was goddamn fucking miserable and also addicted to cocaine. So I was like, I'm gonna see myself out on this one, okay? So I told myself, like, all right, bitch, I guess this is just the way the adult world works outside of the service industry, and I guess just, you know, you either buckle the fuck up and shut the fuck up, or, I don't know, either I quit or whatever, and I wasn't about to quit because I had just gotten out of bartending, so, like, you know, this is just only the beginning, mind you, bitches, okay? This shit gets super fucking spicy. So I continued working there. I put a little boundary. We stopped hanging out as much. And through the time, I'm like, you know, asking all the attorneys the questions, asking, you know, should I study for my LSAT? Should I do this? Should I do that? Yada, 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 yada. Okay? And I start studying for my LSAT, start looking for law firms or law schools and everything. And I was doing all the right things, asking all the right questions, just treating my boss like a friend, not a boss that took me to a massage, right? And mind you also, this chapter of my life, I didn't really give a fuck about anything but literally my own success because I had been hurt for so long and I had constantly been the bigger person doing everything for everybody besides my fucking self. So it was a time I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna ignore this shit and I'm gonna continue going. And honestly, it's actually a pro that I saw this shit out. So just wait, stay tuned for that, right? So time goes on, and then one night, something like good happened at work, and he texted me and he was like, hey, look, I just had a really awesome day at work. Like, I don't know if you heard, but this was really good, and I just want somebody to celebrate. Like, will you get dinner with me? Super platonically. And I'm like, fuck yeah. And mind you, also at the time, as I'm looking at that text message and I'm considering the thought going in my head, I'm like, And then I turn around and look at my fridge and my pantry and remember that I have 0 fucking groceries. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna take the free dinner. So I get my little happy house up and I walk out the door and he picks me up and we go and get dinner, okay? Again, platonic, right? Nothing had happened still. And I'm like, wow. And I say still, well, oops, sorry, spoiler alert. And so we're at dinner and we went to this actually like very nice steakhouse. So then I'm like, okay, this is walking the line of like not right, you know? But I continue and I just order my steak dinner and we're sitting there just talking and then his phone starts going off and he's being like all weird about it and I'm like, you might want to get that, buddy. And then he just like looks up at me, face is like pale as a ghost, and he's like, oh, it's my girlfriend. She keeps calling because she doesn't believe I'm here alone. And I'm like, you're not. I don't know how to break this to you, but you're fucking not, bro. So I just sat there like, well, you also told me you were breaking up, and now this is extra weird because now I really am the other fucking bitch, and now you're putting me in this situation, and this is weird and whatever. But then, okay, so mind you, then not much time has passed. I haven't even had that many thoughts in my head go on, okay? And so I'm just sitting there and I'm like, oh, well, you're not alone. And he's like, phone's still ringing, okay? So she's calling literally on FaceTime, and I'm just like, what are you gonna do, man? Like, what the fuck? And also, mind you, like, my life has been traumatic, so, like, these things that happen, like, don't, like, I feel like most people would freak out and immediately whatever, and I'm like, I don't know, honestly, I've kind of seen fucking worse, right? I kind of want to know how this shit's gonna play out. And so he's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I hate to do this to you. I'm so sorry. And he starts scrambling, picks up like his plate, his napkin, his utensils, and his glass. And he moves all of his shit from the high top to the bar and sits there literally like 10 feet away from me and answers the FaceTime call. So like had he turned his camera while on the phone, like I'm right there diagonally behind him, like literally right fucking there, clear as day. So I'm just sitting there like, sipping my wine, looking at this shit happen, and I'm like, what the fuck is my life? What the fuck is this shit right now? And I'm just like sitting there like, and I start laughing in disbelief because A, my life is just funny. I'm like, well, I guess this is 24. I thought I was just going out to dinner. Now it's weird. Now it feels like a date. Now I feel like the secret whore, legal assistant, mistress shit. And I'm like, this is bad. But also, like, do it for the plot, I guess. I don't know. I can only say that now because I'm fine. And so then he finally fucking hangs up the phone and he comes back over. And he's like, just looks at me and I just blank stare at him, right? And I also was laughing too because I'm like, dude, like, this is very humiliating for you. You're like 30-something years old. What the fuck are you doing? Like, men are literally insane. Like, I'm literally watching like a movie moment happen before my fucking eyes. So he hangs up the phone and he just like is looking at me like, oh, comes back to the table. Hey. And I'm like, what the fuck was that? And he's like, oh, no biggie. We're all good. It's already resolved. Huh? Bitch, what? I was literally stunned. I'm like, and then we like awkwardly cash out and he's like, I'm sorry. And then we're walking back home and I'm like, obviously couldn't help myself, but I start going in being like, A, you fucking lied and you said that you two were breaking up regardless because I don't have my like intentions to you. I just see you as a friend, but like, what are you doing, bro? Like, seriously. And then he ends up saying that they've been together for 4.5 years. And he's like, well, at this point, we either break up or get married. And she doesn't want kids and doesn't want to marry me. And we've been fighting like this for over a year now. So it really doesn't matter. Like, this is just the way it goes. All is well. And I'm like, hold up. Hold the fucking phone, bruv. 4.5 years? Like, dude, that's your fucking wife. Like, what? Like, I was, what? 4.5 years. I was fully taken back. Like, what the fuck is going on? And, you know, I always look at things from, like, a bigger scope. Like, person to person, take me take me out of this shit. This shit was not about me. I'm like looking at him like, bro, you're so damaged. Like, this is your own problem. And like, I can still be your friend. And I'm just this type of person, even if it was a goddamn stranger, I'm like gonna put my opinion where it literally is probably never needed, and not asked for, but I'm just gonna do it, okay? So I'm like, dude, you're clearly unhappy. What are you doing in this relationship? You just said she doesn't want to marry you. Let her go. Let her be free. You're basically cheating on her, whether you literally did or not, because he was the type of person to be like, well, nothing literally happened. And I'm like, all right, you're a fucking asshole for that. But you emotionally have for sure and are constantly thinking about other women all the time. Like, you do not belong in a relationship. So we have this long talk about it. He eventually drives me home, and I'm like, get your shit together. A week later, he tells me that I'm like, get your shit together, and yada, yada, yada. A week later, he tells me that they broke up for real this time, and he's like, no, like, you were so right, like, thank you for being so honest with me, and all of this stuff, and, like, I just, it's just really hard, and, like, I'm just so used to her, and I'm like, oh, I get it, like, I've been through relationships, I get you, bro, I hear you, all is well, it's okay, but it's better to be unhappy alone than unhappy with someone, and I'm proud of you for making the right decision, and me just always talking in metaphors and trying to believe the best in people and wanting people to not feel alone and not hurt, and that doesn't make sense in boy brain, though. Boy brains are just fucking whatever. And so, me still working at the law firm. So also, too, like, mind you, when we went out to that dinner, it was on a Thursday night. I still had to see this man's right at work, 8 a.m. the next day. And, like, just wait. It gets even fucking spicier, okay? So then I'm like, oh my God. So I'm immediately in the back of my mind like, okay, this is kind of strange. Not kind of strange. It was very strange. But I'm like, well, the amount of times during this time also that I looked at myself like, well, this is 24. And I guess I just have to have the most fun and not care and not make this about me, because that's his problem and I have enough of my problems. And like looking back, of course, I'm like, girly poo, what are you doing still being his friend? But some things you really just get to say, yeah, whatever. So now it's like late April and I've already decided that I'm fucking over the law firm, law school, all of that. It was stagnant. They were all coke addicted, miserable bitches, and I wanted no part of any of it. But didn't know what to do, again, surviving with, like, the little experience from, like, COVID fucking me over and all of these fucking grown adult men fucking me over and having this rage. And I was, like, looking on Upwork and doing independent contract work, and it wasn't enough. And I eventually, like, swallowed my pride and started applying for bartending jobs again. But, like, here's the spice, okay? So, naturally, I'm freaked out because my job, my support system, my security, my safety net to pay for my apartment, to pay for my living is in the hands of this fucking idiot. So I panic, naturally. Oh my God, who the fuck wouldn't? And then also I'm like, great, they're gonna murder me. I'm gonna make them sign an NDA or whatever. Like, I was literally fucking losing my marbles. Like, I was like, oh God. Honestly, it was also super fucking fascinating, and I had to see what happened between them. I had to know, like, I was now invested in the plot. I'm like, all right, dude, how's this gonna fucking play out, right? So now I put a boundary in, and it's like really fucking funny looking back, and it's just funny to me. I don't know if it's funny to anybody else, but I'm like, damn girl, you had so many red flags. And yeah, and like I can't even comprehend, like when I go to retell this story, I can't comprehend and like logically explain why I did the things I did then. And I think it was just like the manipulation of it all, and like it's just fucking crazy. Like I like to think like I was so smart during those moments, and I was, but like, because he would literally always say like the most perfect shit. Like it was always like, or just gaslight me also. Like I would always say something and he'd be like, no, and then like just figure it out to where like he would change my mind all the fucking time. So he tells me that like, oh, we broke our lease together, and like the lease that I still had with her, and like where I used to live, and like life just goes on, and we broke up and all this stuff, and I'm healing, and yada yada fucking yeah, or whatever the fuck this asshole said then, right? And bear with me too, like I'm trying to tell this story in the perspective that I had then. It's just really hard for me to like have compassion and like him now, right? So we end up going to this like corporate run, and we all go out with like a bunch of our coworkers, and I guess vibes were high for me that night. Vibes were high, I guess. I don't know what happened, but one thing led to another. We're back in the same hotel room. My titty's in his mouth. And I'm like, whoa. It was like I woke up in that moment. And I was like, oh my God. And I pushed him off of me. We hadn't like done anything besides like kiss and literally that. My fucking titty. And I'm like, holy shit. And I look at him, I'm like, ah. And he's like, wow, ah. And I'm like, ah. He's like, what's the big? I'm like, you're my boss. You're my boss. Not, whoa, right? I'm like, okay, whatever. That was fucking spicy, though. I can't lie. I really can't. Like, it was spicy in the moment. It really was. I was like, ooh, kind of tasteful. And also, like, 24 years old. This will make for a funny story one day. I guess. Haha. I'm laughing now. Whatever. You live and you learn. I guess. So I'm like, holy shit. And literally, like, right after that, like, the next day at work, basically, like, that, I put my 2 weeks in there. And I'm like, yep, this is time. And then I don't even care. I'm over the fucking law shit. Y'all know this. So I'm like already looking at things. So just goodbye. Did that hard cold. And then this motherfucker, he literally, we like are just now like laughing about it. Now it's like, oh, now it's like whatever. No one knows, blah, blah, blah. And like there just is. There's something sexy about being secretive and all of that stuff. Like I'm not gonna lie, you know, and remember, my beginning of my year, like, I was deprived of physical touch for a long time. So naturally, I'm like, ooh, that was kind of spicy. I'm thinking about it for the next couple days. I'm like, ooh, actually, I didn't see him like that. And then I like call Kelly. I'm like, okay, Bessie, you were kind of right. He got a little spice. And so then we obviously acknowledge the obvious, right? And making jokes about it, talking about it, moving on, you know, obviously he's like, oh, you're leaving soon. I'm like, huh. It's building tension. It's just fucking happening. It's inevitable at this point. So then now, this motherfucker had the audacity to ask me if I wanted to go to Mexico to an all-inclusive resort for a wedding during a solar eclipse. What? He's like, you don't have to pay for anything. I'm like, what? Fascinating. And I get to go to a wedding, which the only other wedding I was the flower girl at, and I was 6 years old. So I was like absolutely talking about it. If you knew me literally at the time, you knew I've been talking about fucking weddings for years and how badly I wanted to go to one. So of course I fucking said yes. Also the travel bitch in me, any opportunity, maybe not any opportunity, but you know, an opportunity to stamp my passport is one I will not turn down. And to travel, oh my God, literally speaking my goddamn love language, right? So what do? I pack my motherfucking bags. I get my flight, I hop on that shit, and I go to fucking Mexico with this dude. And also, mind you, how I told you that I literally wrote down and fucking manifested that fucking job coming in. Bro, literally a couple weeks before that, I wrote on my intentions for the next month. Y'all. A vacation that will positively surprise me. I went on vacation, and I went to Mexico, and I went to a wedding, and it was underneath this beautiful blood moon solar eclipse. Oh my God. I had a fucking blast. Obviously. him and I had a blast, obviously. Everything was so romantic, just like unintentionally. And I could literally talk about that weekend for so long, but we go to fucking Mexico. We have a fucking grand old time. So now lust is in the air. Vibes are high. It's incredible. We get home. I leave the law firm. Everything's amazing. Now, cue fucking rom-com movie Summer of Love montage. That was my next 3 months. I shit you not. Literally the most magical Disney fucking princess ass shit would happen between us. And like I'm a big believer in science. I don't believe coincidence. I don't believe in coincidences at all. Like, nothing is a fucking coincidence. Everything happens for a goddamn reason. Everything happens for your divine greater purpose. And holy shit. Like, literally one time we're sitting by the water. He tells me about this super rare fish that he's only ever seen one time in those waters. And when it happens, the fish comes up. And then 2 seconds later, the two fish come up to us and start doing their mating dance right below our feet. Literally beautiful dance. I had never seen that shit live, and it was beautiful. And then what else happens? Oh, we see a shooting star. Oh, all in the same, like, 12, 15, 20 minutes, like something like that. Literally same spot we are sitting one time. And then what happens again? The fucking final grand finale. The girl with the twirl, okay? This bitch, that's what we called her. This bitch was a little baby stingray, okay? Cute as could be. Stingray flying through the water. She just comes up. She walks right by us. We're like, oh my God, look at her. Boom, right out the water. This fish does a full 360. It's incredible. Belly flops in the water. What? We feel the splash. Like, oh my God. What the fuck? Like, that stuff doesn't happen. One time we were having sex. I'm looking out the window and a fucking rainbow shoots across the sky. I wish I was making this shit up. And like, when I say like, yeah, like looking back, I'm like, I don't understand. But like, also these parts were so fucking magical. There were so many things that were so fucking captivating about him. Not only was I being master manipulated during this time, but I also was like, what in the divine fucking amazing purpose is going on here? Like, I just didn't understand, right? Like, it was just absolutely crazy. And I would tell my friends, like, y'all are literally never gonna believe this. Like, a rainbow shot across the sky. I saw so many rainbows with this kid. The most I had ever seen. And literally rainbows symbolize like new beginnings and excitement and joy and all these good positive things. So I'm like, what the fuck? Obviously riding with it. I have to see this out. We would wake up and meditate together. We would do yoga together, and like, oh my God, we would go to the park and read together. We would go for runs. Like, we started fucking training for a marathon together that we were gonna do for my birthday and go to fucking Egypt and run this marathon through the pyramids of Giza. And like, the whole time he's showering me in gifts and love and affirmations and taking me to massage every single month since the first one also. And I forgot about that part. And like, it was just absolutely awesome, right? And so now I'm like, wow, look at my whole year turned around. I stamped my passport. I'm living a great life. Vibes are high. Our communication was beautiful. I had never openly and honestly and like respectedly communicated with somebody in my entire life. Or so I fucking thought, okay? Literally, okay, also mind you, this man told me he loved me like 2 weeks after Mexico, and I like literally looked at him and I was like, I can't say that back to you, you know? Like, definitely, wow. So, fucking rom-com, movie montage, we're going out with his friends, we're going out with my friends, all of this stuff, like literally cue all the good music. Oh my God, it was amazing. We would go to the plant store, we would just have awesome times together, okay? So then he also tells me that you know, like, I'm here for you. I want to see you succeed. I know you want to go leave and all of this stuff. Like, I want to help you get there. I want to, like, support you. Like, you always help me, so let me help you and all of this stuff, right? And I'm like, wow, this is strange. Like, me not comprehending someone want to also just pay for me. Like, I was just really confused. Like, in that way, you know, like, sponsor me to fucking go there, basically. It was just such a mind fuck. Something I want to add too is just acknowledging all the times I realized things and like kept continuing or looking back and preparing for this episode too. Like, yikes, wow, okay, I'm about to throw myself under this bus, and you know what? At least I have the resilience to overcome and grow from this. How about y'all? Y'all still feeling your guilt? I don't got any. I lived, I learned, bitch. And life fucking goes on. And you're not one singular moment, and you are not one single year. You are everything, and no one will ever walk through my shoes, and no one will ever walk through your shoes. Only you can do that. So judge me if you want. I could literally fucking care less. And also, I have the best friends in the world who very much like to humble me and check me and be a good friend, not a nice friend, when I need it. So a lot of them too were like, oh, you always told us, like, don't fuck your coworkers. So, like, what the fuck? Like, take your own fucking advice. And I'm like, y'all, I said don't fuck your coworkers. I never said don't fuck your boss. That's funny. That's funny stuff to me. Oh, man. Okay. And also, too, listen to fucking this shit. Listen to this shit. So this motherfucker, we're getting to the good part. I'm getting fucking heated, okay? We are getting to the fucking good part, all right? Okay. Are you ready? Okay. My lease is like coming to an end, right? And I was still like saving up money and planning to go to the trip. So he was like, oh no, like at least stay with me for a couple weeks. Like we had always planned on that and whatever. And he's like, at least stay with me and then you can go live your life. And then we'll meet up in Egypt and run our marathon and whatever fucking rendezvous plan we had, right? Whatever fucking lustful, wishful thinking plan we had going on, okay? So I'm like, okay, well, yeah, I guess I can do that and everything, but like I have a cat. He was allergic, and this man's literally used to take Benadryl to come see my cat and also let me have my cat at his house and would take Benadryl as well. So like obsessed in like crazy. Like it was just absolutely crazy. So I fucking move in with this guy for a couple weeks, just staying with him until I was gonna leave. I started working at this new job, so I was like, perfect, gonna do that, save up money, then I'm gonna go. Bing, bada, boom. Just had a great time, and I get to dip. But when I got there, something shifted. I don't know what the fuck it was. I can't pinpoint it. Something fucking shifted, okay? And when that happened, I got this really weird feeling, and I'm like, And I started really kicking in, like, intuition overdrive. And you know, in the back of my mind, I always knew something was a little off with him, but I couldn't ever pinpoint it. You know, it wasn't like enough. So I would just like dismiss it. And like anytime I did have an issue, I'd bring it up to him and we would have beautiful communication. So like it was just, you know, like I was just like, but I couldn't fucking pinpoint it at all. So days go on and the vibes like totally fucking change between us. And I'm like, okay, something's up. And I couldn't pinpoint it exactly. And I just had this gut fucking feeling, and like I said, the songs would just resonate, and I got a lot of like confirmation, right, and a gut feeling that he was still talking to his fucking ex, and I didn't know why, and I kept trying to tell myself like, bitch, you're just being crazy, like that's ridiculous, whatever, yada yada yada. And I just kept trying to shut it down, because also when you're with manipulators and gaslighters, it makes you feel like every fucking thought you even have is wrong. Not only are you speaking wrong and acting wrong, you're also thinking fucking wrong. And so I think that, but then it's like eating me up. And then like I knew I had to leave because there were plenty of reasons to leave before, but I kind of didn't have enough proof. And I needed proof because anytime I would kind of say something and like confront him about something and like, you know, be like, all right, like this is it. This is where I'm gonna burn this bridge right now. And then he would just completely prove me wrong and always made me be like, oh, okay, well then I guess everything's fine. And then time would go on and then I would just feel weird again. And like there were plenty of times he manipulated every single conversation we would have. I would watch him do it and I literally would just be like, bro, you're a great lawyer. I don't know what to tell you, but like literally, Jesus Christ, you're not on the stand. You're not on trial. Like you're sitting here telling me you love me and I'm watching you use manipulation tactics for every single fucking conversation and everything in your life now. And now just studying that and now noticing all the things that kind of have led up to this entire point, and that, you know, he was suffering from such like a crippling fucking loneliness that I couldn't see, that he was just like buying my attention. And like I really did not see any of it until I moved in with him, and something in the air shifted. No longer fucking rainbows in the goddamn sky. Literally, instead, the utmost fucking disrespect, piece of shit out there. Like, he just turned so cold, so cruel out of fucking nowhere, and it was terrifying because when he was doing that, I was realizing that he was doing it like the entire fucking time. Like my friend Amy, my great friend Amy, oh my god, because like someone might be like, oh, but he did so much for me, but like literally Amy will remind me of this one always. Like one day I was saying to her, like crying about him, and I'm like, I just don't understand, like he's gonna be mean to me, but all of this stuff, and he's done all of this for me. And Amy's like, Nicolina, it's all for you. Like he's doing it for you. Don't you get it? Like, don't you see? Look at all this shit I did for you. Why are you not grateful for me? Look at all this I did for you. Like, you should be grateful. And I, like, holy shit. Like, I did not think of it like that until that fucking moment. And I'm so grateful for her for, like, really pointing that out, because I would have never realized how manipulative all it was. And, like, every fucking goddamn thing came full circle, like from the beginning. He was constantly using things to manipulate me, and he was constantly using certain words and constantly putting me in front of certain things and certain people and certain whatever. And like he would refer to me as yoga mommy to his fucking friends on the phone with them. And I just like, you know, like, and I would just assume that he would also call me Nicolina, but nope, not at all. And there were so many other things. One time, like, he was outside gardening and he was using my yoga mat and got it all fucking soaked and dirty. And I like just made like a slight comment. I was just like, oh, cool, you got my yoga mat dirty. Awesome. Because mind you, I'm like still waiting to leave because I was still waiting to hear back if I was going to move for this new work opportunity. And I'm just like, holy shit, like so anxious in this boy's house. This is going on for like a week now, or maybe like 2 weeks. Okay, 2 weeks, and I'm waiting to figure out the job and like when I can actually leave, right? And so I'm figuring all this fucking shit out, and this fucking motherfucker standing on my yoga mat gets this shit all fucking dirty, and I'm like, oh, cool, awesome, no biggie. And he's like, well, you can buy a fucking another one. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, it was, and I didn't even say it like as cold as it came off, but like, oh my God. Like, but it was like, it's just a fucking yoga mat. I'm like, wow, okay. Like, you bully? Like, who bullies people like that anymore? Like, who is actually like that blatantly fucking rude? It just didn't make sense. And like, also too, mind you, I'm like going crazy now because like for weeks now, I'm like, something's not right. This shit feeling that like this, he's still talking to his ex. So I'm like, every single time he's like, whatever. I'm like, oh, the second I fucking get out of here, the second I find out and whatever. And still during this time. So then I find out that I can leave. So then I'm like, okay, cool. Now we got a date. Now I'm getting the fuck out of here. So I'm doing all the behind the scene planning and everything. And then And then my crazy ass is saying to my friends, I'm like, I need to find out before I can leave because I don't know how to say goodbye to this kid. Because even though I'm realizing all the red flags that I've led up to now, all the manipulation things that I've led up to now, I also do realize that, like, I was leaving. I wasn't dating him. I was already out of love with him. It didn't fucking matter. Like, I actually got a lot out of it, is what it was. Like, I got really, like, aside from this part and him being a piece of shit, like, the most of it was good. Literally, like, I had a very great summer. I did a lot of things and lived a nice little luxurious life, and I pampered myself the whole time, and it was absolutely awesome. Like, it was fucking great. So I kind of really had like nothing to lose, and I kind of like just needed to know, right? I was already getting my out. I just needed to know for some fucking reason. So my friends are like, Nikki, don't do this. Like, don't. I'm like telling them what I'm gonna do. I'm telling them, they're like, I know her name because she called when I was with him at that fucking dinner. So I've known her name this whole entire time. I know what town she lives in. I know that she's a lawyer. I'm like, okay. I called her law firm. I definitely did. And I definitely used his name, acting like he referred me to a consult. And was like, they transferred me over. They're like, oh my God, yeah, we love him. Transferred me over. And she picks up the phone. She sounded so sweet. And I literally was like, oh my God, I'm about to fucking crush this goddamn girl. But I did know too, like, I had to play, like, not the positive what if game because it wasn't really fucking positive, but I had to, like, think, like, I would want to know in that moment, and I would never be able to live on knowing that she might still be fucking in love with him and still loyal to him and still dating him. And I just had this fucking gut feeling. So I called her, and I'm like, hey, this is my name. This isn't about, I don't have any fucking, like, legal case for you at all. I just literally, like, need to tell you something about this person, and I really need you to, like, call me separately off of, like, your work phone. Like, I mean, that didn't really matter, but I don't know. It was just like, like, when you got time, when you're not at work, like, sorry for fucking bothering you. I just didn't know how else to contact you. Because I also was, like, so terrified of this man and, like, terrified, like, there were so many fucking examples that, like, I literally would need books to describe this shit. Like, it was just crazy. So just stay with me. And this fucking bitch, like, oh my God. So I didn't want to message her on Instagram because, like, God forbid she just, like, was really loyal to him, and she just saw that and screenshot it and sent it to him and was like, who is this? And then, like, I'm living there with all my shit still there, so I'm like, oh my God. Like, yes, I'm calling when I'm still in this man's apartment, still have all my things there, still waiting to get out, like, she could hang up the phone and call him, and I could never see any of my things or my cat again. Like, I just had to do it, and I just had an urge to because I was thinking about it for a while, and, like, it was a very, like, impulse call, and, like, those things I really just need to get that moment, get that courage, and just say, fuck it, it's now or never. So it was one of those times. And I was literally at Universal with my sister and brother-in-law, which is actually really funny when I decided to do it. And she was like, okay, hi, yeah, okay, I can tell, like, you're really concerned. Yep, I will call you and whatever. So we make a time, schedule this call, and oh my God, what is wrong with men? Certain men. There's obviously great men out there. I love great men. I've always had great guy besties, great guy friends, great guy people in my life. They're awesome, okay? The good ones are awesome. But the fucked up ones are not. And, like, okay, this guy would make also, like, very misogynistic jokes, like, very, very, very often sexic jokes. And again, it didn't click at all. Like, love is fucking blind, and I don't know how else to describe it. And also, like, shiny things are also blinding. So I was getting showered in gifts all the fucking time. Like, literally distractions, and just to, like, ignore me from the fact that he was actually a piece of shit. So I get on this call with her. Oh my God. Her and I matched the timelines from February to the first time, from when he first left his number for me and like tipped me a bunch of money, and from our first time we went and got drinks like a week after that, right? From February to fucking August, this motherfucker. When I first got drinks with him was a Monday night. That weekend right before was Valentine's Day. She came to visit him that weekend and stay with him for Valentine's Day. She left early Monday morning. Later that day, he went and got drinks with me. That's only the beginning, okay? Now I'm walking you through the whole timeline again. We're getting a recap, but with the two. Holy shit, that happens. Then, the dinner, she knew I was there. She knew he wasn't there alone. I'm like, you're not crazy. And thank God I fucking called that bitch, because literally, men suck. We're not fucking crazy. Women's intuition, we're not crazy. We're fucking right. She knew that shit. And like, I wanted to like tell her so bad like then, but like I didn't know him then. I didn't have enough, whatever. And my God. But I'm like literally so glad I saw this shit out. So then fucking that time, and she knew it and whatever. And then when I told her that like I thought they were breaking up, when he told me that, she's like, no, not at all. And then when she said that they like actually broke up, they did break up for like a little bit and they were fighting. So like some of his emotions and feelings were true, but they were still like talking all of the time. And like every single day he was texting and messaging her and sending her memes. And also me too, every single day he was texting me all day, messaging me, sending me memes and hanging out with me. Like it was absolutely fucking crazy. And he would call her too. Like it was crazy. I personally, like, I thought about it. I'm too tired for that shit. Like, I can barely talk to one person. Like, I'm too tired for that shit, Like, that's a lot of work. And he worked a lot. Like, I was like, dude, you're not cool for this. This isn't, like, what are you trying to prove here? Okay. And he's not trying to prove anything. He was just fucking nuts. And so then when we go to Mexico, the whole time he's texting her and he's like, my God, I miss you so much. I wish you were here, blah, blah, blah. And then we get home. He tells me he loves me. He's constantly texting her, I miss you. And he's sending us both the same 11:11 message. He's sending us both the same fucking memes. Literally on the phone, sending us the same meme while we're having this fucking conversation. Like, it was nuts. He went home to visit his family for one of their birthdays, and I asked her, like, when we were on the phone, I'm like, did he, like, see you that weekend? Because he coincidentally told me his phone died 2 nights. And, like, I fucking knew that. And I think that was actually, that was right before I, like, stayed with him. And that's, like, what really cued it all off. Because I was like, oh, no. Like, he went to, like, his hometown. Totally. Holy shit. Like, how bad could it be? That was, I'm glad I remembered. I had to talk it through. Thank God you guys were here for that. Oh, my God. So then, fucking all that shit happens, and yes, he went and saw her, and he fucking lied to me, and all of this shit. So like, her and I are fuming. Like, we're like this fucking piece of shit. The kahunas on this man. The kahunas on this 5'6" man. Holy shit! Like, bro, what are you doing? And we just talked about all of this, and I tell her too, I'm like, okay, I also know I just dropped the craziest fucking piece of news to you, and I know you probably want to come here and immediately light him on fire, and that's totally awesome, and I totally support that, but I also have my things at his house, and I need to go and get them and leave. And shout out my fucking homie Alex for letting me immediately come and fucking stay at his place and throw my cat there. And he stayed at his girlfriend's house so I could stay there and whatever. Like, I literally called him and was like, dude, literally right after I hung up the phone with her, actually, I fucking drove to his bar and took the fattest shot of tequila. I love that that just came full circle. Why is it always the big shot of tequila? That's so funny. And so I tell her, like, all right, let me get my shit out. Give me like 2 days and whatever. And then all you, like, I truthfully want nothing, whatever. Like, you were with him for 4.5 years. This is all you, baby. I will leave and just tell him that he broke my heart and that this was just a love pull between us. And then you can do as you fucking please and destroy him as you fucking please. And yeah, so I went home and I did those things and I packed my things and I fucking left. And I tell him that. I'm literally like, dude, what the fuck? Like, literally, we just had an amazing fucking summer. Then you do this. And I did everything without spitting a fucking lick about his ex at all. No hint at all. Mans has no fucking idea. Absolutely incredible. And then like we end up leaving and he's like, oh, I'll walk you down like one last time and blah blah. And I'm gonna miss you so much, Nico, and blah, 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 blah. Starts giving me, like, all that stuff, like, I'm sorry I broke your heart, and he starts fucking crying, and I'm literally like, oh, you got another thing coming for you, motherfucker. And he used to say I was his piece, and I was so happy to take that shit away, because not only was I leaving him, so he was gonna be, like, literally lonely, like, this man was crippling like so fucking insufferable. Oh, it was just crazy. Like, he literally could not be himself. He could not sit with himself. He fucking hated himself, needed constant fucking stimulation. And when I fucking got to leave, oof. And when I got to leave with the satisfaction that something harder was gonna hit her and that neither of us were just, like, both of us would just be gone. With you, no explanation, just never hear from us ever again, pretty much. And then he walks me down to the car, and he's standing outside my fucking car. So funny. And he's like, oh, like, don't be surprised if, like, I call you in a couple days crying. And I'm like, don't be surprised if I don't fucking answer. And I just fucking drove off. And I swear to God, that was the last thing I fucking said to this kid. And I am, like, still cheek to cheek about, like, yes. Oh, man. And so I leave, and then days go by. And I tell her, and she's like, okay. I, like, removed him off of like Instagram. I haven't answered him, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yes, bitch, proud of you. And, like, we could have done so much more. Like, I literally had the key to his apartment. Like, I, in a literal sense, could have done what the fuck ever I wanted. But I didn't. Because it wasn't worth it. And, like, leaving was so much fucking better than giving any more of my goddamn energy to this stupid fuck. This stupid, manipulative bitch. But at first, her and I were definitely fucking talking shit. And we were definitely being like, ooh, we should do this. And ooh, isn't he a piece of shit? And ooh, isn't he, like, gross? And, like, all of these things. And, like, it was just absolutely amazing. Once, like, the girl power went exactly how I wanted it to. Not like wanted. I didn't want any part of this situation, actually. But when I was, like, going to go tell her, like, I'm really happy that it went in, like, a supportive way, and because it just could have really went one of two ways, and I just wanted her to also acknowledge that he was a piece of shit. And yeah, it was just awesome. But with one of the jokes that we were making, I literally was gonna be like, bitch, I live here, like, come hang out, and we can just be hanging out, having girl time, and he can come in. And we'll just be like, hey. Like, oh, fucking so-and-so. God, it literally still makes me fucking laugh. And so he used to say the most manipulative shit to me all the fucking time, right? Literally all the fucking time. And one of the things that he would say is like, oh, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. He would just say that all of the time. So when she like told me that like he found out about what had happened, I immediately texted him that. I was like, dude, this, thank you. Like literally, like this is the stupidest prize, you fucking idiot. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Karma's a bitch, you know? And it's also like really, really fucking funny because after a while too, you know, especially when I really started seeing it all and I had my ticket out, I was like, oh my God, this is good. He's gonna be left with nothing. Like I was getting happy, you know, because it was like I had felt like shit and this life had kicked me. So I was like, nah, I'm not letting this motherfucker do this to me either. Nah, I'm done with these fucking men treating me and treating other women like fucking shit. I was over them thinking they could have anything over me, like really, really sick of men getting away with shit like this, like my whole entire life and just doing as they fucking please. And then me constantly getting shit from them, for them, all of fucking, oh my fucking God, because of them, all of this stuff, never being able to do anything, like, oh my fucking God. Like, my whole life, I have dealt with such awful fucking men, and like, during this time in my life, I literally could not stop fucking saying that, like, Miss Cameron fucking Diaz, like, you screw me, I screw you right back, I'm a lady like that. Oh my God. Every single time, like I'd be in the house with him knowing this, knowing that actually, because now too, also, like we had our conversation and also too, like I was thinking about it for weeks. Like I just like knew that he was screwing both of us over, but I needed that final fucking confirmation. So I was constantly just sitting there like, oh, you motherfucker, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you and it's gonna figure it out. And I just needed to fucking figure it out. And I just, holy shit. Like, and not all men are like this, okay? So when I'm sitting here right now in this podcast, I'm shitting on men that are like this. So if you're like, I'm not like that, don't get offended, okay? Like, that is not about you. It's not for you, right? Like, that's not my, you know, anyway. Like, there's great guys. Like, literally, amazing. We love guys. A lot of them are G's. They're saints. They're amazing. We stand men that are good and compassionate for women and care. People like this fucking guy need to wake the fuck up. Oh my God. Get over yourself. Jesus fucking Christ. We're not doing this shit anymore. It's not cool. You're not a really awesome, cool, hot bachelor that is like slaying the game. Like, you're not at all. You're a fucking loser, honestly. And like, even though my big ass heart was hurting so much, I felt so betrayed, so mind fucked. And like, at that point, especially, like, I literally just had to remove myself from the situation, like, emotionally, and was like, okay, like, this is so much bigger than me. Like, this is so much more all about him and how mentally ill he actually is inside and how much he actually hates himself so much that he needs to do things like that because he can't actually live with the reality that is his, which is fascinating. So he hides it with all these things and shiny things and all of this stuff. And speaking of shiny things and buying things, so over the disrespect of that when people think they can cover things up with money. Like, it's fucking awful. My dad was like that when I was younger, where like something bad would happen and I would go get a great gift and like, it like literally fucks with someone's like mental development and like rewards like bad things on a weird, deep subconscious level, but also is a literal reason that I personally don't really give a fuck about materialistic things. Like, I do. I like gifts, of course. I like nice things, but like I love nice things. I like being pampered and spoiled, and of course, duh, I like gifts. I like things. but don't fucking try to hide the hurt and the mess with a shiny toy. It literally makes people dismiss their pain. Like, y'all, picture this. Something often awful happens. Hey, sorry I neglected you for years. Here's a bike. That didn't happen to me, but I mean, in a way, it kind of did. Not me realizing my own trauma on that. I was just saying a random example, but that fucking applies. And so, anyway, here's a bike. Like, okay, sure, I guess this solves everything. I guess I can just repress those emotions. I guess they don't matter. I'll leave them there to sit and stay there and cause me so much pain later on in life that adult me is gonna have to release through like yoga and therapy. Okay, so super cool, right? That's what that does to that. And like this man would do that. He would buy me shiny fucking things, and that just was his reality because he didn't know how else to distract himself from the pain of his own life and his own existence. So he just did those things rather than just be a man and get over that. And I also think it's so funny about men who are so afraid to confront their emotions, and because mainly, like, he literally would be like, I love you, I'm sorry. And I'd be like, I need new Lulus. Like, oh my God, piece of shit he was. And like, if you're judging me for that and want to think like, oh, you shouldn't have done that, he did so much for you, or whatever, bitch, I shouldn't have done that. Me? Really? No. No. We could have done literally anything we wanted, but why the fuck would we let him be misogynistic and dismissive and rude and all of that and like not, make it work our time a little bit? Because men like that really do think it's just their world. And they're so stupid because look around. Open your damn eyes. It's, there's other people there. I mean, that's just, stupid to look around and not think that there aren't other people there and there aren't other opinions out there. It's just actually kind of honestly stupid. And we also accept the love we think we deserve because of past fucking traumas and learned behaviors and being product of our environments. And some people have shit luck with this and have to learn the hard way. And a lot of people never get out of that mindset or that cycle and probably never will. And they will just have to accept this shit behavior from shit people and shit relationships and never get out. And it's really fucking sad. And if this is triggering you, like, you should probably ask yourself why. You can't get mad at me when your perception of me is a reflection of you, baby. So, like, know your goddamn worth. Read up on what toxic relationships look like and make sure you're not fucking in one. And if you are, fucking run. And all is well. And so this fucking crazy ass story, like, I could go in so many more fucking details, like, but it's just fucking crazy. And I like look back at this just like, wow, I literally just lived like a whole fucking movie. And I'm also so fucking glad that I fucked my boss, because literally I would have never basically got this. I would have never gotten that girl that clarity. I would have never been able to give her that truth. And she literally told me to when we were on the phone that she was fucking considering getting back together with him, and like literally saved it, like saved that, like. And if she's with him and I have no idea, like I haven't talked to her in like a couple months, so like literally, like, if she is, girl, I'm sending you all my love, all my everything. Girl, get the fuck out. And if you're not, yes, bitch, we thriving, we out. Oh my God, I wish nothing but the best for you. Either way, I wish nothing but the best for you. But oh my motherfucking God, crazy fucking life. Her and I are forever like bonded, trauma bonded now. So how crazy all of this shit was. the shit that happened at the beginning of the year was like a piece of fucking cake. Like, I literally was like, oh my God. And so now I move all the way across the country. I start a whole new life. I have so much stability, so much awesome, good things have been happening to me literally since I'm out here. Of course, when I got out here, it was like, I finally got out here and I was like, whew, all right, I can breathe. But then I was like, I can breathe. And I started sobbing and healing and having all those awesome emotions and meeting awesome people. And it has just been a wild fucking year. Like, I could not wait to turn 25. And 25 is when I finally launched my podcast. So, like, when I finally got out here, I was like, you know what? Fuck that, fuck that, fuck that, fuck that. I'm doing whatever the fuck I want because it doesn't fucking matter. And clearly, you can do whatever you want and life goes on. And people like fucking horrible people out in the world still do horrible things and still get to create businesses and do these things and whatever. It's just wild. So do as you fucking please. Live your fucking life. Life fucking goes on. Know your red flags. Don't try to figure them out. Don't try to help him. He doesn't need it. She doesn't need it. Don't try to save people. Help people if they want help, but don't fucking waste your energy. Your cup is not full, and if they're not fucking worth it. So, yeah. But, God, what this year has fucking taught me is raising my goddamn standards. That's for fucking sure. We already knew that shit. Not doing that stuff. Soon as hit the red flag, I'm not doing it anymore. I literally don't have time for that anymore. We're in our fucking bag in 2024. And speaking of that, next episode, I'm going to have my finance girly on, and she's going to talk about all things under the sun that are going to be super amazing for financing in your 20s and just what that should look like for you. And yeah, I'm trying to think if I'm fucking thinking of anything, but that was pretty much my fucking New Year's and my dating history. I didn't even fucking try a damn thing when I got out here, and it was just absolutely crazy. So again, I was so happy to leave this shit and let all of this shit go. And this is my final way of letting this fucking shit go, and it feels so good. And I feel so free. And this was so fucking nice to let out. So thank you all for listening. Stay tuned every single Wednesday for new episodes. The song that I'm going to be leaving you with is actually silly. But I've been realizing more and more like music lyrics resonate at certain times and you just don't hear the message until now. So one of the songs that I've been loving right now is Gonna Get This by Hannah Montana. We love Miley Cyrus so fucking much. Like, thank you for this one. You're a queen. It's been helping me get in a better mood and stay motivated for this new year and all the goals I am working on. I'm pretty sure it's just about her like getting the boy, but take what resonates for you, because for me it was like, it's my motherfucking year. I'ma get this. I want it all, so I get it all. Like, so as we enter the new year, keep reminding yourself, we're gonna get this. Ominous positivity. Like, we're gonna get this. It's already happening. It's already coming your way. It's already in your vibration. You're gonna succeed no matter what. It's inevitable. So keep reminding yourself this, because we're gonna get this. And this is such a crazy story of my entire fucking life. And literally just men living two goddamn fucking lives and thinking they can get away with whatever the fuck they want. And it's just fucking crazy how people like that still exist, and still can't wrap my head around why we don't have more of a compassionate world. And like, what the fuck? So I hope you all enjoyed my 2023. It was a year of fucking growth, that's for sure. I have always said I was a very seasoned 24-year-old. Like, if I wasn't seasoned now, I'm an extra fucking seasoned 25-year-old, everybody. And just wait, there's more stories to come, more topics to come. And yeah, I love you all. Thank you for listening. Love yourself. Love each other. Peace and blessings, my friends. Like, I'm fucking out on this one.